Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. So today we are moving on to chapter 4, reporting and storytelling. These are the chapter outline. The first one is we're going to learn elements of visual design. Second, we're going to learn the different types of storytelling. And the third one is to learn storytelling in design process. The first lesson objectives is to understand common visual design elements. Second is to be able to produce a good visualization design. Third is to understand data storytelling. Fourth is to differentiate types of data storytelling. And fifth is to be able to write a good data storytelling. First, let us discuss why visual design elements matters. As we know, data visualization allows you to present large quantities of information, and visual data can grab attention, and it is more memorable than long form of reports. So data visualization tells a story through illustration rather than narrative explanation. So as the designer, you make choices to highlight content by using size, colors, and other visual tools. The story that you tell and how much you guide your audience towards conclusion or how much you leave open to their interpretation depends on the context of who your audience is. So a data visualization is meaningless if it is not designed to connect with your target audience. As the designer, you must identify the points that you want to make or identify your key audience and create the clearest visualization that conveys that message to that audience. Okay, this is some of do and don'ts of chart making. So you can go to this website, okay, to learn further. Okay, so these are some of the tips that you can apply when you're doing your chart. Okay, so we're going to look this further in the next slides to come. Okay, for example, you have to use appropriate charts, okay, including a horizontal bar graph. Okay, you should use full axis, keep it simple, use color to make contrast of highlighted data. Okay, and what you have to avoid is you don't change chart styles partway through a comparison. Okay, so you don't overload your charts with unimportant data. Okay, don't use more than 6 colors. Okay, so if you want to use pie chart, so it has to be less than 7 categories. Okay, so you have to select the right combination of colors. Okay, don't use red and orange, okay, in one chart. Okay, and don't ever sacrifice important data in your chart. Okay, so these are some tips that you can find from the internet about chart design. There are many elements of visual design. So these are some of the fundamental of visual design elements that has to be considered when you are designing charts or graph, as this becomes a mechanism to speed up audience understanding towards data patterns that you want to show in your visualization. Okay. For example, color is actually one of the primary elements in visual design. Okay, besides shape, position, orientation, length, and so on. And we're going to also look, okay, about these elements: selection of the right chart, the chart title, in terms of labeling, comparison, data ordering, and readability, which are also part of elements of visual design. Okay, the first element is selecting the right chart. Okay, so there may be more than one way to visualize your data in accurate way. So you have to choose the one that tells the story. So you have to consider what simple elements might be added or might be tweaked or removed to make the data easier for for the reader to understand. Okay. For example, line charts are useful when you want to display patterns or change over time. Scattered charts are useful for showing correlation and distribution. whereas donut charts or pie chart are useful when you have data that adds up to a meaningful whole. Okay, but make sure that you have less than 7 categories in your data series. If you have more than 7, so it is not suitable to use just one donut chart or pie chart. So if you have more than 7 categories, so you might want to think of plotting more than one series of data in a different chart. So if you care to make some changes or tweaks in your chart selection, it can make a huge difference. Okay, so for example, okay, this is taken from Visme website. Okay, so these are the different types of data. Okay, nominal data. Okay, so what are the relevant charts that you can apply? You can use bar chart. For ordinal data, in numerical scale, you can use pie chart or bar chart. For discrete data, so you can use arrays, pie chart, bar chart, and so on. And for continuous data, you can use line chart. So these are some fundamental tips on selecting the type of charts. Okay, so let's see in this diagram here, in this figure here. Okay, so this is about social customer service representation. Okay, so in the left one, so it use pie chart. Okay, so how would you rate, okay, customer service through social media? In the left side, okay, it used pie chart with 1, 2, 3, 4 colors. But if you were to change this representation into a horizontal bar chart, it looks more representable and it is more understandable. It helps user to understand your chart faster. Where you can see in this representation, it has the data label, okay, of the customers' perception towards customer service. Okay, so it is more understandable rather than using this pie chart representation. So, and then in terms of the labeling, so this is less fancy than this. Okay, so these are the things that you have to make sure that you do some changes. Okay, so selecting the right chart is the first step before elaborate more, before you elaborate more on the design of your chart. Okay, the next one is chart title. Okay, chart title is really important because a reader or audience will read the title of the chart first before they absorb or before they learn the information displayed on a visualization. Okay, so you do not over explain the chart, so make it simple, okay, up to the point. Okay, for example, this is about strawberry sales by month. We can see that on the x-axis is the month, okay, and this is the title. Okay, so we could use call outs wisely, okay, and do not use distracting fonts or elements. Okay, so meaning that don't use any fancy font. Okay, so make it simple. Okay, before that, what is call out? Okay, so this is the definition of call out. So call out is a way to highlight an area of your slide or your chart, typically with a line leading from the point of interest to a box containing additional text. For example, in graph, we can display a wide range of information at a glance. Okay, so for example, in these two charts, it is actually showing a distribution of probably the rain distribution in a country from January to December. So we understood that J, F, M represent months. Okay, so in the left one, so probably this chart is actually, it wants to focus on the rain distribution from October to December. So they put a box here, or you can put a box and just put an arrow going up, so it can tell the reader or the audience, okay, that it shows that there is an increase of the rain distribution from October to December. Or if this chart is just want to focus on a month of May, so it put the number 43 here. So probably 43 is the number of raining probably the volume of the rain and so on. So meaning that a call out can help user to understand, okay, or to learn or to read the graph or the chart better, but you have to use it wisely. So in this diagram it shows, okay, the right one is better, okay. So but the labeling here, it says June looked oh so sweet, so that is not really a good call out information, because as we know, a chart is something that is very a formal representation of data, so we shouldn't use fancy words, okay, or even to put a tag like this, strawberry season never looked better, okay. So so this is a better way how to put a chart title, and maybe you don't need a lookout, a call out, but you can put a call out if you want to probably focus on the month of June, okay. So maybe by putting, maybe for example the figure here probably 70%, okay, so you can just put some figure there. The next one is labeling. So we have to double check that everything that needs to be labeled are labeled, okay. Make sure the label are visible, and then label the lines directly. Do not over label. If your axis label are too crowded, consider to remove every other label on axis to allow the text to fit comfortably, okay. So this is about the top three most popular brands on Facebook, okay. So instead of putting the figure or the picture of that particular product, okay, so we could just remove it because it will make it too crowded, okay. So it's okay if you want to use their trademark, okay, the trademark of the name of the product, so that it helps user to maybe probably pick up the product information better. But this way of representation is much better than this. So we try to reduce the complexity or the overcrowdedness of the information displayed on a chart. And then the next element is comparison. Data visualization makes comparison a lot easier, that letting you actually see how two different data sets actually stack up to each other. So we should include a zero baseline if possible. This is zero baseline, so meaning that this is at 0, okay. As you know, we have actually a y-axis here, so it starts from 0. So to make the data in the accurate information, okay, with accurate reading. And then you have to watch your placement. So you may have two nice stacked bar chart that are meant to let your reader compare points. But if they are placed too far apart to get a comparison, you have already lost. So meaning that if you want to make a comparison, so just put it side by side, not far away. So we can see that entertainment is higher, okay. Okay, Facebook users want entertainment more than discount or customer service. Okay, so we can see the comparison. Okay, and then always choose the most efficient visualization. For example, you want to visualize consistency so that the reader can compare at a glance. So putting two charts side by side make it more confusing. Okay, imagine that you have, for example, here in the pie chart, so you have to compare 32 types of pie charts. So how can you make the comparison? You cannot see 30% as compared to 48 and 52 because the comparison is not visible, okay. Unless like if you present it in this bar graph, so you can see the top value and the lowest value, okay, in a row. So in the left chart, the pie chart, your eyes cannot really see the comparison of the value. The next one is data ordering. Data visualization is meant to help make sense of your data. So random patterns that are difficult to interpret are frustrating, and it is detrimental, so meaning that it bring harmful to what you're trying to communicate. So you have to order your data intuitively. So there should be a logical hierarchy. For example, you could arrange the order by alphabet, or by sequence, or by value. Okay, so which one is better? Okay, or you want to put the order in consistent way. Okay, so normally we should put the order from highest to lowest. Okay, so it helps your eyes, okay, to see the ordering of the data easily as compared to this chart on the left. Okay, so forget about the alphabet of the data, okay, but we put more consideration, okay, of the values, okay, from highest to lowest. Okay, we also consider about readability of the design of a chart or a graph or a visualization. So for example, charts should make it quick, easy and painless to understand your data. So meaning that we want the reader audience to pick up the information straight away without them having to, for example, in the left one, the left chart, okay, it doesn't put the number, the figure label, data label on the bar graph. So the user or reader will have to take some time to point out the figure. For example, probably this is 12 is the month 12, okay, on December. So we want to know how many number of youth. Okay, it doesn't state here, so it is not at 450 but it's a bit higher than 450. So the reader audience will take time. Okay, so we want to make it more readable. So instead of that, so we put the label here, okay, at the top of the bar. You can remove extra ink, okay, in the form of border, the grid lines, okay, you can remove the grid lines here, okay, and then even the legends, okay, because we know that this is about youth, okay, it has been mentioned number of youth served by year, so it's just one series of data. You don't need the legend there, okay, so that we can simplify the look of our graph, okay. So so instead of legends with y-axis, okay, so we could label the data directly with its category and also the quantity, okay. So for example, if we want to focus on a particular month, so we could put the blue color there so that we understand that probably that storytelling is actually wants to stress on or emphasize on the month 12. Okay, and then to increase the readability of for bar graphs with multiple categories with long names, do use a horizontal bar graph instead of vertical. Use a horizontal. Okay, and then if it comes with long name like here, okay, so okay, before that we have to arrange the data from greatest, okay, to lowest in descending order. Okay, descending order. That is better than lowest to highest. Okay, it will always be recommended from greatest to lowest in descending order. Okay, and then in order to keep your audience from craning their neck in order to read this long label here. Okay, so if we do it horizontally, then we won't have problem of putting the label here, so that it's easier to read rather than the audience has to, you know, turn their head and then read the label, the long label or the long names of the bar chart. Okay, so this is much better representation.